Hello, humans. Welcome back. And my name is Sarah Verghese. I am the visibility coach. This is Martha the T-Rex. She is our mascot for She-Rex marketing. She-Rex as in T-Rex. Really, she's just here to remind us that business and branding doesn't have to be boring. I want to talk to you about the exposure triangle. So I used to be a photographer. I was a full-time professional photographer for about 10 years. And in the photography world, there is a term called exposure triangle. And it's when you are trying to get your exposure correct by using the right ISO and the right aperture and the right shutter speed, all to work together at the same time. And I want to talk about the exposure triangle and how that relates to visibility. So within the exposure triangle, you have your visuals. So that's you, how you're showing up on camera, how you're showing up in person. It's also your verbal, which are your words. How are you expressing your messages? How are you talking about yourself? How are you talking about your clients? How are you talking about your business? Visual, verbal, and vibe. How do you feel about your business? How do you feel about yourself as a business person? And how is that reverberating off of you? How is that energy coming across to everyone else that encounters you? Are you trying to be someone that you're not? And then when they meet you in person, that doesn't connect to the two. Who are you and how are you representing yourself? So let's dig into this a little bit more. Visually on camera, yes, your lighting needs to be good. You know, if I turn my lighting off right now, you see that I have my lighting on. If I turn that off, this is what I would look like, because there is a giant window right here. So even with the overhead light on in the room and a window over here, because my back is kind of to the window, without this light, I would not be visually appealing on camera. What are you wearing that represents you? That's part of visibility. What about when you are showing up in person to a networking event? Are you thinking about the clothes that you wear? If you have tattoos, like if you have a sleeve of tattoos and you wear a short sleeve top and you're showing your sleeve and you tell someone you're a real estate agent and they also have a sleeve, don't you think they're automatically going to think, oh, they're like me. Oh, I bet we'd be friends. Like, stop hiding your personality. Visually, people are going to start to notice who you are if you are willing to stand out. Verbally, how you show up matters. Your industry language should not be everyday conversations. Your industry language should be saved for when you're talking to people within your industry, not when you're talking to the common person. And common person meaning anybody who's not in your industry. Anybody that you're talking to, that you're trying to get them to relate to you, do not use your industry language. You want to use language that is their language, not yours. So just like when you go to another country, right? You go to another country, you know English, but you know most of the people there don't. So you talking in English to people who don't speak English as their first language is kind of not helpful to anybody. The same concept with business. You want to use language that makes sense to your clients. So that's you taking your industry language and knowing how to break it down into the language that everyone else around you will understand. And if you don't know how to do that, that's things that I do. I teach you how to break your language down. Okay, that's verbal stuff. Vibe is your personality. Verbal is also part of vibe, because how you show up and how you talk to people shows your personality. Stop trying to bland down your personality. I like to say, don't be beige. Stop trying to blend in with everything. That's not how you attract your clients. Your clients come in because they are attracted to you, which means they're attracted to your vibe, because you know how to show up as you and not the person that you think people would be attracted to. Don't do a character. Don't show up as, I'm going to be this character and I'm going to have this voice and I'm going to do all these things. Because when they meet you in person and you are not the same person in person as you are on camera, it automatically tells them that you're not truthful to them. Have you thought about that? When you try to be someone different to capture their attention on camera, like you're putting on a show, and they meet you in person and your personality in person does not match who you are on camera, it automatically sends up a distrust flag. You are not to be trusted because you are two different people. However, if they meet you in person and they're like, oh, you're actually really cool, and then they see you online and you're like, this is how I think I should be showing up. I should be showing up like this. And this is how I should be talking to you. And I don't want to upset anyone by telling anybody anything different. And so I'm going to just be. People do their research on us, on whether they should work with us or not, by stalking us online. So yeah, it's super important to meet people in person. That's usually how they find us. That's how they meet us. And then when we start actually showing up online and they're stalking us is how they decide whether they're going to work with us or not. And if you are two different people, they're not quite sure if they want to. You need to be the same person. You need to be the same person in both places. And it takes practice. It also takes a little guidance if you're not sure how to get there. And that's what I do, is I help you figure out how to visually show up, how to verbally show up, and I help you figure out what your vibe is if you don't know. If you're not sure, I can meet with you and I can very easily discern what your kind of personality is and then ask you, is this you? Does this sound like you? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or you go, no, not exactly. But then by me asking you those questions, you can then say, oh, actually, no, but this is. Sometimes you just need people to ask you the right questions so that you can get to the right answer, because you know the right answer in your head. You have a smart brain, and your smart brain knows the answers if it's given the right questions. And that's what we do. I help you find the right answers, and I help you package it up into something that you can go out and rebroadcast because it resonates with you. That's your visibility. Okay. Verbal, vibe, visible. They all work together. You can have a really, really awesome vibe, but you're not showing up anywhere. And it doesn't matter. You can have really, really good ways that you talk about yourself, your messages, your verbal. And if you don't have a good vibe and you don't know how to show up as you, it's going to sound bland and it's going to go right past people. Okay. We don't want to just be in someone's peripheral. We want to be up front and center so that they cannot miss us. And that's what I'm going to do for you. Okay. It's time for our heart to heart. Heart to heart. Because visibility only works if you know how to show up for yourself as much as you're showing up for your clients. If you're not showing up for yourself, it's not going to work. You need to know how to believe in you, how to have self-worth in you, how to want to be the person that you're meant to be, not just follow the X, Y, and Z of the strategies and think that that's going to work. It's not. You have to believe in you. So today's heart to heart, because it's Valentine's Day today, I'm going to talk about self-dates and why they are so important. Now, yes, I'm single, and yes, I talk from a single perspective, but I'm also talking to anybody who owns a business or anybody who has a life that's extra busy. Maybe you're married with kids. Maybe your kids are all in sports. Maybe you have a million different things going on. If you are not stopping to take time out for you, even if it's just running out of the house to go get a coffee by yourself, you're not honoring your own voice. You need breaks, people. You need to schedule breaks, and they need to be deliberate, intentional. If you've got kids in school and you're running a full-time business on the side, take a break. Go do something that is just for you. And yes, exercise is important. Yes, going out of the house to go exercise is good for your mind and your body. I'm talking taking time to acknowledge and to celebrate you. So I talk more from the perspective of a single person, right? When you don't have anybody in your life that is celebrating the things that you're doing on a regular basis. Don't get me wrong. I have amazing friends, but they don't always have time to go out with me. So I have learned how to go out by myself, and I will go and sit at the bar. And sometimes it's not even going to restaurants. Maybe I'll go to my favorite bookstore. Oh, we have an amazing bookstore in Columbus. We have a bookstore called the Book Loft. It has 32 rooms. And it is one of my favorite places to go to. I will go next door and get a coffee. And then, or actually probably more like a hot chocolate because I don't actually drink coffee. And then go roam the bookstore and just feel like I got lost in Harry Potter, because like that's what the bookstore reminds me of. There are so many twists and turns that I just feel like I'm inside the Hogwarts. So that's one of my happy places. I will take my journal out to the park and I will go for a walk specifically to ask myself a question, and just to get that question. It's like in the dryer where it tumbles around while I'm walking, and then I stop and then I journal for a while. These are self dates. These are times where I'm stepping away from work to do things that are specifically for me, to help me feel like a human again, that I'm not just a workhorse, that I don't always have to answer to everybody else, that I don't have to work on everyone else's timetable. But if I don't take time to celebrate me, no one else will. So it's your job. And okay, as a married person or as a person that has kids, it's still your job. Even if they will celebrate you, it's still your job to celebrate you too, because you can't wait for them to approve of your life, for you to approve of your life. You have to be okay with you first. And then if they want to, then great, awesome. And if they don't get on board, that's fine too, because you already know your worth. So that's the Valentine's Day heart to heart. Know your worth. Know that it's good to go out and celebrate you. Yes, you should celebrate when you get clients, but going out and having self dates do not have a reason to them. The more you are acknowledging and taking care of you, the more you have the energy to take care of your business. I am Sarah Verghese. I'm your visibility coach. If you need any help with anything visibility, that is what I'm here for. We can jump on a Zoom call and chat about what my 6-month program looks like and how I'm going to take you from where you are now to a totally different person and a totally different business in 6 months. It's going to be so amazing. I can't wait to talk to you in person and get to know you as a person. I can't wait for your business to blow up. Let's go. Let's get visible.